Belichick, he had his pre-draft press conference today. The guy doesn't talk very often out of season. In season, he talks all the time. Out of season, doesn't talk very often. And he spoke, Myles, about a topic that was very relevant a couple of weeks ago when owner Robert Kraft said a few things that maybe constituted a little snide comment, a little criticism, a little slam of the draft process. Here's Belichick talking about changes they've made this year in New England.
Well, we're always looking to get better. Always try to evaluate everything we do and try to find a better way to do it. So that's I would say an annual process with the draft, but it's something that we do on a regular basis throughout the course of the season, whether it's whatever period of time it is. So always looking to do a better job. There were some things that last year that were unique to the draft process. As I mentioned, some of those are similar this year. Some of them are a little bit different. So we, certainly use some of that experience to improve the process a little bit this year. At least we felt we improved it this year. But ultimately, we're still going to try to evaluate the players and make the decisions that we feel like are best for the football team.
There had been a report a few weeks back after Robert Kraft said what he said, Albert Breer of SI.com, reporting that Belichick in the past has gone off the board, gone against the preferences, defied the rankings of his scouts, most notably with receiver N'Keal Harry round 1 2 years ago when the scouts had guys like Deebo Samuel and A.J. Brown higher than Harry. And what's happened? Harry has not been good. Samuel and Brown have been great. Samuel banged up some, but when he's available, he's really good. But, Myles, this is a refreshing Bill Belichick. Could it be that one day shy of turning 69, he's starting to realize life's too short to be miserable all the time? Wouldn't that be great if he's realizing that he should not spend his remaining years dour and somber and miserable all the time?
Well, like you said, he's turning 69, and maybe he just wants to be nice for a change. I think that when you see Bill Belichick and he's speaking the way he is, he's basically just saying a lot of words, right, that don't necessarily mean all that much. And that's what a lot of head coaches do when you're in the pre-draft process. But today, he was asked different questions about different things, but it's not like he was answering the questions, really. He just said a lot of different words. Like, I'm not sure how much he really answered what it is that they're doing differently this year. He talked about how, yes, there is some sort of different processes that have had to happen in the last couple of years. That's pretty obvious because COVID made that the same for everybody, right? So I think that there's maybe that aspect of it, but also, I don't know, maybe he feels maybe reinvigorated. Like I said, maybe he's just going into year 69. He wants to be a little bit nicer. If that's the case, great for him. But I still think once we get to the season, he's going to be, the same guy that he's always been, Mr. Mumbles.
It's entirely possible, though, that he has finally figured out what Nick Saban has known for years, which is that it is possible to smile, to say things, to let the reporters feel like they're getting answers, even though when they go back and look at the transcript, they're going to say, I didn't say anything. But at least the process isn't like pulling teeth out of an agitated alligator. It's more pleasant. I'm holding out hope that we're going to see. Although, I'll end up missing the mumbling, miserable Bill Belichick because it adds flavor to the NFL. But he did say Matt Patricia, former Lions coach, has been more involved in the draft process. There had been reports of Patricia being actually involved in negotiating free agent contracts, signing on behalf of the team. The Cam Newton contract I saw somewhere, signed by Matt Patricia last year. That same contract signed by Nick Caserio. So different things happening. Matt Patricia, not officially on the coaching staff, but he's there, and he's involved, and he's assisting. And it's a new day in New England. I like this vibe. I like this feeling. Here's more from Bill Belichick on drafting at 15 in round 1, Myles, and the possibility of trading up if the opportunity arises.
I think that again, each draft's a little bit different, and so each year is a little bit different. But all that being said, at 15, I think we could eliminate a few players that won't be at 15. And then you could look at a couple scenarios and say, well, these 3 players are there, which one we take? If these other 3 different players were there, which one would you take? You go through that exercise and talk about that. But I would say normally now there's less options at 15 than there are, 28, 30, 31, some other spots that we've drafted from. But I would say normally something will happen, and there could very well be a player there that either you don't expect to be there, or maybe he is a couple spots, maybe at 12, 13, he's still on the board, and you really thought that he'd be gone in the top 6, 7 picks. And then then the question comes, do you move up and try to get that player that's fallen a little bit?
If I could do a really good John Madden impersonation, I would read that answer from the transcript, because that just smacks of the kind of obvious stuff that we always heard. He didn't say anything. Well, you see, we got pick number 15, and there may be a player there that we take at number 15, and we don't have to stay there. What we could see is trade up if we see an opportunity to do that. Do you understand? And then maybe we don't. Maybe we do. We can, but we don't have to. We can stay where we are. He's figuring out the words don't matter. He doesn't have to be afraid that he's going to open his mouth and inadvertently reveal his draft board. I feel like he's always been that way. Like every time he has a press conference, he's being interrogated by opposing forces behind enemy lines. No, it doesn't have to be that way. And it's a shame that he seems to be figuring it out one day shy of his 69th birthday, Myles.
No, I don't know. I think it's mostly just the fact that we're in April and he already knows that anything he says is going to be used against him, so he's just saying a bunch of things that are nothing. Although now that I think about it, I have seen him do pre-draft press conferences where it definitely is like pulling teeth for him. So maybe you're right. Maybe he is just learning things, and maybe, I don't know, a losing season, and maybe he got some more sleep in January and February because he wasn't in the Super Bowl like it seems he is every single year. And, he just wants to turn a new leaf, wants to do something a little bit differently. But I think the thing that, I just find interesting about the Patriots is that everything has to be like Fort Knox. I mean, you were just talking about the fact that Matt Patricia is now doing different things inside of the Patriots complex. What exactly is Matt Patricia's title? And why don't we get to know? I don't really understand why it is that we don't get to know, like every other team in the league, what people's titles are and what jobs they have there. Look, I looked on the Patriots website just to be sure of this, because I just wanted to say, maybe they have it somewhere. No, they don't. And you know what they do have? They have Jed Fish still listed as the quarterback's coach. He has been in Arizona as the head coach of the University of Arizona since December. I don't get that. Why can't we just know, like every other team, what people's titles are?
Well, Ernie Adams has been there as long as Bill Belichick, and we still don't know what the hell his title is or what the hell he does. He's just Ernie Adams. And I think Matt Patricia is developing into this new age Ernie Adams where he's just going to be doing stuff. We don't know what. He's got projects, special project. What's his title? Nobody knows. He just shows up. Glares at you, pulls the pencil out of his ear, makes a note, puts it back, walks away.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.